I got an intuitive feeling that it was time to pursue Chattin with D full-time, and that feeling led me back to Grenada to produce an international female-led production highlighting the work of well-known and respected Grenadian entrepreneur Joelle Frederick.
Chattin with D is where you need to be.
Yes!
She know that she bad. She know that she bad, 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 bad. She won't call you back. She ain't got time for all of that. She making a bag. She deep in a bad, 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 bad. They don't want her back, but she ain't got time for all of that. She ain't got time for all of that.
Hey guys, welcome back to Chattin with D. We are here with the lovely Joelle Frederick, Grenadian Entrepreneur. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. I feel blessed to be here.
I'm so happy to have you on this program, Chattin with D. Thank you so much for being here.
It's an honor.
Awesome. So let's start off at the inception of your career. You started off modeling in America, and then you made the transition to come here back to your home country, Grenada, and start pursuing different endeavors that more align with your career and aspirations. Talk to me about your life. How did everything get started?
I started actually here in Grenada with Elite Latin and South America. They did a model search in 2011. And I won to represent that. I actually didn't even want to go because I was so nervous. But I had to go to honor that 6-year-old dream in me. You know, I saw Adriana Lima walk on the Victoria's Secret fashion show. And from that moment, I just knew that I wanted to be a model. I wanted to be on the runway. I used to wear my grandmother's heels and walk down the hallway, strut my stuff, fighting in the heels. But when the model search came to Grenada, my friends, my family, mentors pushed me. They're like, "Jo, this is your opportunity." I always said that there's barely any opportunities in Grenada. Go try, you never know. I went, I tried, and I won with another model. We went to Trinidad for that competition. It was pretty much one or two girls from every other island as well, representing their island, and it was a beautiful mesh of people. It was like almost like America's Next Top Model, but Caribbean Next Top Model in a way. It was a great experience. We did a bit of coaching, a bit of exploring, a bit of photo shoots and practicing, literally like a mini episode of ANTM. And I didn't win that one, but Elite Latin and South America signed all of the representatives from each island. Funny enough, they were based in Miami, and that's where I was moving the next year to pursue school and modeling. So their home base is there. I moved to Miami, went for a meeting, and they sent me to Elite Miami and Wilhelmina, Miami to get placed. As a mother agency, their goal is to place you into an active working agency. I got selected that same day by Wilhelmina, and they threw me right into it, go to a casting. I'm like, what? I don't even drive. How do I get there? So it was definitely a culture shock. It was an experience, to say the least. The first job I did was an Armani fashion show, and then the next one was a Custo Barcelona fashion show. I think I was struggling with weight issues then, but finding myself along with the modeling industry and learning the balance there caused me to sort of focus on me, put on a bit of weight. I had to get released. I asked to be released from the contract with Wilhelmina because I wasn't getting any jobs because I put on the weight. It was still that stick figure mentality. You know, I was 25 pounds at 5'11". That's very underweight. So put on a little bit of weight, started freelancing. I moved around with a bunch of different agencies. I was with Runway, I was with Front. To find the right place for me, ended up right back in Wilhelmina with a different director. And things just sort of moved from there. While in Miami, I worked a lot. I did Swim Week, I think it was 3 or 4 years in a row. The first time I did Swim Week, I was freelance. It was so scary.
Yeah, I know how that is.
You know, but with an agency, you kind of know where to go, you know who to see, you know what you need. The guidance is important. And that's part of the reason I started thinking about coming back to Grenada, to be the guidance for the little girls and aspiring models, the little me's who don't have that. They don't know where to go. They don't know who to talk to. They don't know how to approach clients to get the job.
Yeah.
I think that's really my story when it comes to modeling up until this point.
I love that. And thank you for sharing that story and being vulnerable, because I know that the modeling industry isn't easy when it comes to America.
Oh, no.
And for you to take that leap of faith to come back home and start pursuing other, lifestyle ideas, lifestyle careers that align with you, and really being, that source down here in Grenada is pretty awesome.
I get to choose those thoughts. My weekend is not a retreat from my weekdays. My life, my feelings are not determined by a day of the week. My life has no day. It has moments. I receive the truth of this. I work on believing this more. I release the temptation to...
Where did Genesis Development and Talent Agency, Genesis Holistics, where did that name come from?
Genesis, it being the origin, the start, the birth of something. I'm big on rebirth. I'm big on knowing that you wake up every day and it's the opportunity for a new life, a new chance at life. I think Genesis, when it comes to the modeling industry and my involvement in coaching models here and allowing girls to pursue their dreams, is an ode to myself, to my younger self, giving me the opportunity to be the genesis for these girls, to be the origin story for these girls. I know there've been a couple of modeling agencies or situations or fashion shows here and there in Grenada, but I think the international mindset is what, I don't want to really say lacking, but is what that needs a little bit development, a little bit of help, a little bit of growth for it to be a well-rounded modeling industry and offer international opportunities for these girls, as opposed to it just being a show you do for a friend or the store down the street. Let's think of it as an actual career.
Yes.
So that's where the genesis, the origin, the name is the origin of something.
I love that. I love the meaning of it. And I think that's very important, especially for this time right now. I do a lot of work here in Grenada, as you know, and I always find myself coming back here because there's a lot of progressive healing energy here.
Definitely.
And so what you're doing now is so important. I'm very excited to see what else you have in store with Genesis.
Thank you.
But I'm entering a new level of my worth ethic. An evolved way to do business, knowing the business of my life deserves me to flow. The relationship between my work ethic and my well-being are a healthy one. I entertain reimagining my well-being.
Let's talk about you taking that leap of faith from leaving America, leaving the modeling industry to come here and pursue a healthier lifestyle. I know that's embedded in Genesis Holistics. Let's talk a little bit more about that, the healing journey, and all of that. Yeah.
Definitely. So I switched to a plant-based lifestyle from a pescatarian lifestyle in 2020, the beginning of 2020.
Welcome to my Au Naturel juicing show. I'm going to be refilling my green detox juice. First things first, we're going to slice and dice. Not dice, just slice. What I like to do is slice my apples and pears in half and then slice those lengthways in thirds.
So this is probably a couple weeks before the pandemic hit. I had just spent some time in New York, and like we were chatting about earlier, New York is such a fast-paced place that if you feel heavy or weighed down with what you're putting in your body, you may not be able to keep up. So that sort of triggered me when I came back to just make the change, the plant-based change, because here you have things growing in your backyard. You have dandelion, you have red clover, you have blue vervain right outside your door, and in America they consider those weeds and they just uproot it and it's gone. You know, there's no fruiting trees that you can just grab a fruit on your way to work. Here you have that. There's a mango on your way to work. There's a soursop on your way to work. You know, there's everything readily available to you. So I feel like within that switch and, you know, constantly growing towards my highest self, learning what it is I desire my highest lifestyle to be, it brought me right back home, because this is where my heart is. You know, this is where I feel the most abundant. This is where nature is the most soothing to me. This is where I feel like I can have nothing and have everything all at the same time. So when COVID really allowed me to sit still and be really introspective of what do I really want out of life, since modeling's on pause. Bookings are like, we're gonna postpone this until the pandemic's done, but the pandemic was 2 years. So what do you do in those 2 years? Having that realization of modeling maybe isn't all that there is for me. What else is there? How can I reach that earthy, grounded version of myself while finding a way to monetize? Thinking and dreaming of what that would look like for me, it turned into owning land and healing through nature and through foods, and offering things like massage therapy and yoga and nutrition, all of these kinds of practices. If I wanted to offer that as my higher self to people, offer them a space for healing, I had to heal me first. While this is happening through the summertime of the pandemic, Grenada was on lockdown still, my grandfather passed away. And it was kind of shocking. I mean, I knew he was towards the end of his life, but I didn't think that I wouldn't be able to see him before he passed. And I couldn't come back for the funeral. I couldn't come back at all. So as soon as the borders opened up, I sold what I needed to sell, put things in storage, and I'm out. So I think me in 2020, the beginning of 2020, starting to hear the calls of going home and becoming plant-based and all of that stuff, and then everything aligning the way it did, sort of told me that I needed to trust my intuition. 'Cause January, December, I was thinking maybe I should just go home for a while, a couple months, I didn't listen. And everything sort of flipped on me and forced me to go home. So that's another thing with the universe and God. If you don't listen, you're gonna get forced to listen.
Exactly.
So that wound me up right back home, and I feel so much more at ease with life being here. I definitely should have done it sooner.
But I think everything happens exactly when it's supposed to. And like you said, the universe pushes you when you need to take that next step in your life. I want to tap into more about the healing journey and herbs and what it takes to really heal our bodies. We are now here at Bay Leaf Tea House, owned by a Caribbean woman, Tami, and we're so happy to be here for her to allow us to have this beautiful space. I already feel the healing energy here to begin with, so I want to tap into a little bit more about like what herbs we can use to heal our bodies more naturally and make a more healthier lifestyle for ourselves.
This is called Quietude, and it's like a sorrel, which is a hibiscus flower blend. I believe it has chamomile and maybe bay leaf and a few other herbs in here. It smells like a chai almost, like a sorrel chai tea. It's
sweet.
Really amazing. And it doesn't even need any sugar. It tastes sweet just as it is. As far as herbs with healing, this is a healing tea right here that we're drinking. Hibiscus is great for skin and womanly functions. And like earlier I mentioned, just going on the side of the road, you have dandelion, you have red clover, you have blue vervain, which is such an amazing detoxifier. I think women particularly need to pay attention more to natural herbs and healing their body with natural herbs and the way they eat and the way they think their life, because of the fact that we have wombs and men don't, and we live in a world that is structured from men, for men, by men. So learning how to live your life according to your cycle gives you so much freedom to heal yourself. Red clover and red raspberry leaf are two really good flowers that you can drink. Two really good flowers that you can drink for cleansing your womb space, circulating your blood. And I think it's really important for us to look further into that.
And I can definitely attest to what you're saying, because just like you back in 2020 when the pandemic hit, I went on this whole healing journey. I think most of us did. And that's when I came to Grenada, found a lot of passion here, healing, progressive energy, kept coming back. And off camera, I was speaking with Tami the other day about how I've been healing through just incorporating different herbs into my regimen, whether I'm putting it on myself or putting it into my food and stuff. And I've found healing. It's a little emotional for me to say, but like it's crazy because
it's divine.
Exactly.
It's divine.
And true healing can be found through those ways as well. Just tapping into different herbs and resources. Of course, you can find a balance throughout what other medical things that you need, but it is possible to heal naturally.
Throughout this journey, I've learned you have the power to create the life you desire, to transform into something bigger than yourself. So I vowed to myself not to live in fear, to trust, to love, and to fulfill my purpose on this planet. Cheers to a new beginning.
I want to steer the conversation into how to tap into your divine feminine energy. I know it's a really big trending topic right now on social media, but you know, social media can kind of be a little bit surface level into what that really means. And being a woman in this world, living off the patriarchal system, the world being made for men, how do we tap into our divine feminine energy, and how do we help manifest that to really be a truly successful businesswoman? How do you make that happen?
Of course. So we have left hemisphere and right hemisphere of our brains, and ideally when you break it down, it's masculine and feminine brain. One is more logical, which is masculine. One is more creative, which is feminine. The creativity that we want, or the divinity that we want to be walking in as women, physically embodied women, we want to tap into that receiving and creative energy.
Right.
The intuitive energy, the soft energy, and I'm going to say destructive as well, because destruction is a type of creativity. Masculinity, however, is more logical and action and results oriented. So they want results and they get results with masculine energy. If you're a woman operating in your masculine energy, you're sort of operating on logic and draining yourself out because you're not being as receiving as you should be. With receiving comes trusting your intuition. Trusting your intuition is trusting God, trusting universe, trusting divine, whatever higher power you believe in, lives within you and speaks to you through your intuition. So if you're being guided by your intuition, a solid block would be trying to figure out how, why, when, where, because now you're questioning basically God's plan for you. In walking with your intuition, you have to learn to surrender to your intuition and know that whatever is coming for you is for your highest good, and that way you align with that. Saying things in manifestations like don't or won't or can't or these kinds of negative words really subconsciously trigger you to think about the end of that sentence, which is, I don't want to be late for work today. You're going to be late for work because you're focusing on late for work. If you say, I am on time, I will always be on time, I'm on divine timing, you're going to be on time. You know, whether or not you're actually late by the clock, you're there when you're supposed to be there. So it all ties into monitoring your words as well, and being aware of how you say things, and remembering to stay in that receiving energy, because God is always providing, divine is always providing, and you'll align with people who are willing to provide things that you need in the time that you need them.
Thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
And I think that, you know, to make sure those things kind of align as well, I think you kind of like set it up from like the morning. So I want to go into like what your morning routine is. How does that kind of like help you go throughout your business, your life, and what kind of affirmations can you share with the audience to set you up for success?
Ideally, I think I wake up between the hours of 5:30 and 7 every day, just with the sun. I don't set alarms. I call it a soft launch for my mornings. I like to have soft mornings where I wake up naturally, I cuddle my dog for a bit, just ease into the day. Maybe I do a few stretches while I'm still in bed, wiggle my toes, wiggle my fingers. Soft launch your mornings, you know?
Soft life.
Yeah, soft life. After I soft launch my mornings and I finally get out of bed, probably around 8 o'clock, straight to the bathroom, skincare routine, cold shower, outside with my dog. Leave my phone inside and I'm on a walk, being as present as I can be, feeling the sun on my skin, being aware of what's around me. I live pretty much in nature, so I could just walk down the path, look at the trees. There's sapodilla trees growing on the side. All of the herbs I mentioned to you earlier, just growing in abundance. Maybe I'll pick some purslane. Whatever it is I feel like doing in that moment, I'll just connect with nature. And once I'm inside, I drink my water. I must have water. I recently upgraded to a copper water bottle from Akasha Metaphysical, and copper is a remineralizer. So you get the copper in the water and you're drinking the copper water. It's a weird taste at first, but once you get used to it, it's not a bad taste. It's just once you get used to it, you kind of get that craving for the copper. So now I want to drink water more often.
Interesting.
You should try it out.
Yeah, I definitely want to. I've never heard of that before.
Some of my favorite rising affirmations that I do, I actually wrote them down so that I can give you the downplay of exactly how it goes. The first thing I do ties into surrender and release. It's I release all that no longer serves me for my highest good, and then I receive all my desires with ease. I live in abundance daily. I do not chase, I attract. All that is for my highest good is aligned with me now. I am divinely guided, divinely protected, divinely connected, and divinely aligned. I am at peace. I am successful in all that I do and all that I am. And the last one that I say, this is like every single day, is I am existing in my most abundant and most fruitful timeline.
Yes.
Yeah, those are my favorite.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Those are great. One piece of advice when somebody's starting their healing journey, what's one piece of advice that you can share?
A solid piece of advice that I will stick to is honestly surrendering to your highest self, surrendering to...
That was confirmation.
That was confirmation, yes. Trusting your intuition, leading with your intuition. And I think taking the time to learn to differentiate between anxiety and intuition.
Yes.
Because they feel quite similar.
Yes.
But one is in the present, one is a knowing, one is a trusting feeling, and one is the question of when, where, how, why, and focused on the future, focused on the past.
Right.
So you kind of can feel the difference.
Right.
If you're not in the present moment, it's more so anxiety. If you are in the present moment, it's more so God talking to you. Learn yourself and understand that every day you can be a different person. So try to take some time to get to know who this person is that you're embodying today.
Yeah.
You know?
And thank you for sharing that part about it knowing if it's intuition or anxiety, because I feel like sometimes you tend to get kind of mixed up on whatever feelings we may have that's happening throughout our body, but the intuition, it being present, and then anxiety about it being the future. The future has not even happened yet. Past is the past, the present is now, future hasn't happened, so focus on the present.
Yeah, all we ever have is now, is the now moment. And that's how you can create your reality, by being as present, as conscious as you can be in this now, because every thought, every movement, every decision you make right now affects your future.
When I first came to Grenada 2 years ago, as I said before, I was embarking on this healing journey, tapping into my intuition and figuring out exactly where God wanted me to go versus where I wanted myself to go. And, you know, going with that feeling. And at the top of this month, I quit my job to pursue my dreams. So like this.
Congrats to you.
This is like a very big, step for me to take right now. But like having this conversation, you being vulnerable about those, tapping into your intuition, letting God lead your way is very, very important. And that's also how you become successful as a woman entrepreneur,
Of course.
in general, and tapping into that divine feminine energy.
Because in that way, you are still in receiving.
Right.
And you're not operating in action, but you're operating in receiving, which is the feminine energy.
Right.
While walking with God.
Yes, love it. 2 more questions. What do you envision for yourself as you continue to make great impact throughout, your career and the Grenadian community as well?
Yes. So I see 2 pillars for myself. I see the Genesis Holistics, and I see Genesis Development and Talent Agency. With Genesis Holistics, I see this as a sort of like a passion project to help keep me grounded while sharing my healing journey and sharing everything that I've learned over the years, that I've taught myself over the years, that I've unlearned over the years, whether it's mind, body, soul. That's that one aspect of my life. I would love for this to become a space where I can help more women heal, more cycle syncing, more womb healing, more tapping into your divine femininity, and also sharing my recipes, because I get really creative in the kitchen. As a plant-based person, you have to sort of figure out how to make things taste good and keep it healthy as well. I am working on, or have been working on, a recipe book for a very long time, but I don't get to cook as often as I want to and experiment as often as I want to because of my busy schedule. But I'm definitely working on starting to share more of my recipes on that page on Genesis Holistics. As far as Genesis Development and Talent Agency, this feels like an actual legacy in the making for me, because it is the first of its kind, a development agency in a small island, helping young girls, for now, just girls, just young women, bring them up to that international standard of modeling, so that international brands and businesses and clients come to Grenada looking for models. They can book a model here, fly them wherever they need to fly them to do the shoot, send them right back. Because I am really sick and tired of hearing creatives in this country feel the need to have to leave to do what they want to do, because there's nothing here, or no support, or no sort of community upliftment in the creative space for them. It's almost like crab in a barrel mentality. Everyone has to make their own way and force themselves through to have an ounce of success in the creative industry here. But I feel like this is Genesis is a borderline or a baseline for all of the creatives to sort of feel supported, because this is not just for aspiring models or content creators or influencers, but also eventually for musicians and artists, for male models, for fitness models, for children, for plus size, for elder. Like, I would like for everyone to come together and feel supported under Genesis. I'm taking my time with trusting the process to develop my team to the space with which I see it going. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank
you. Thanks for sharing that. And, you have support from us on this side on Chattin with D. So lastly, any advice you have to share with the youth in this particular career?
I think I just want to remind you, the listeners out there, to always remember who you are at the end of the day and live your life for you, because you're all you got. Confirmation.
Yeah, right. No more confirmation. Thank you, Joelle, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
You have so much support from us on this side on Chattin with D. We are so excited. I was so excited to have you on. So
thank you. I was really excited to be here.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing all of the moments that you've been through, your vulnerability, from modeling to Genesis Development, Talent Agency and Development, Holistics, everything in all. You are a powerful woman, so keep doing it.
Thank you.
Within the crowd, within the crowd.
Chattin with D is where you need to be.
Chattin with D is where you need to be.
Light change, remain the same, and in the game we're here to stay. Passionate affection, perfect while we feel no pain. Don't be afraid to fall in love. Take my hand, let me show you. Move your body, feel the rush. My ecstasy, the only one for me. A decision, make it count. The only one I'm thinking about. Going down, passing out, lose yourself within the crowd. Oh, within the crowd.